Let's redefine awesome. Let's redefine great. Because most of us tend to think that awesome means when everything is going smoothly, everything is peaceful, everything is relaxing, everything is great, something good just happened. Welcome to Life of a CISO. I'm Dr. Eric Cole, your host, and we'll be taking you on a journey each week on what it takes to be a CISO and what are solutions that you can implement today if you are currently a Chief Information Security Officer or if you want to be one in the future. This is Life of a CISO. Welcome, my friends. You know what time it is. Yes, you do. You do. I do. It is time. It is time for Life of a CISO with yours truly. Dr. E is in the house. Hope things are going great. Hope you're doing awesome. But here's the reality. Let's redefine awesome. Let's redefine great. Because most of us tend to think that awesome means when everything is going smoothly, everything is peaceful, everything is relaxing, everything is great, something good just happened. And here's the problem. If you make your definition of an awesome day, a great day, or even a good day to be so narrow, you're limiting your possibilities, which means if you're saying the only time you can have an amazing day is if something big happens, like you got a promotion, you got a raise, something like that, and I ask you, how often does that happen? Well, maybe once a year. So according to the rules of the game that you're playing, you've given yourself permission to have one awesome day a year. That doesn't seem right to me. But that's the game that most Chief Information Security Officers are playing. They're frustrated and angry most of the time because the standard they set is not realistic. What if a good day is you show up to the office and you check your email? You clean your email out. Now you might be going, but Eric, that's silly. But is it? I don't know about you, but one thing that I sometimes struggle with is keeping up with email. And email is an interesting beast. If you check it 2 to 3 times a day and you keep up with it, it is actually quite manageable. Right now, I check email at 8 a.m., noon, and 4 p.m. That's it. And my clients and my employees and everybody knows with email, I will do a 4-hour response time, assuming it's not at 10 p.m. at night. So they know that. That's the expectation for email. Now, there's other communication methods that I set up that have different time expectations. But people know if you send me an email, depending on when you send it, I might reply within 5 minutes or 3 to 4 hours, but that's the expectation. And it now takes me an hour and a half a day. It takes me about 30 minutes to clean out about 4 hours worth of email. So now I spend an hour and a half. Previously, I would check email throughout the day. Email controlled me. Anytime an email came in, beep, 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 right? And you do it. And here's the crazy part. It ended up consuming my entire day. I would sometimes spend almost 5 hours doing email, and I didn't get through all of them because I was distracted. I was not focused, and I was not putting my effort and energy into it. So now, to me, a good day is if I can stick with that routine. If I can spend 30 minutes at 9 o'clock, noon, and 4 p.m. and get my inbox cleaned out, it is a good day. A great day is when I get 1 key item done. So every morning I wake up and I say, what is one thing that's achievable based on my current calendar and events that if I did today would make today a great day? And then I pick an item. It could be a small item. If I have a busy day, it could be a bigger item. But now I'm setting expectations. Then typically, because you also don't want to overuse, you don't want every day. If every day was awesome, then you'd get bored really quickly and your body would actually create bad days. So awesome days, I set parameters where they happen about once every week or two. So I don't want to have an awesome day every day. I want to make sure I have a minimum. My minimum standard is a good day. Ideally is a great day, which happens about 75% of the time. And then an awesome day is 2 to 3 times a month. So now I've reset the expectations. And I find when I work with CISOs, this simple trick can be transformational to them. Because most of us are trained that our default is a bad day. Our default is a bad day, chaos, and confusion. So I've noticed this pattern when I do my one-on-one clients, when I talk to them and I'm like, so how is your day going? A lot of the time it's like, oh, Eric, you have no idea. You have no idea, Eric. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm 54. I've bought and sold multiple companies. I've had my shares of ups and downs. I've had problems, I've had issues, but you're right. I probably have no idea. You know what I mean? And the reality is, it's not trying to downplay, but what you're going through is probably what most people are going through. Now, yes, there could be some unique life-changing events that truly I have not gone through. I have a dear friend of mine that about 2 years ago goes out to dinner with friends on December 18th. So imagine December 18th, right before Christmas. They celebrate Christmas. The house is fully decorated. All the presents are wrapped and under the tree. Their amazing dog that they've had for 5 years is home and resting. And their entire house burns down. They lose everything, including, and it makes me, gotta slow down, makes me sad when I say this, even the dog. Now, in that situation, I really had no idea what they were going through. I could try to imagine, I could be there to help and support them, but I really had no idea because I, fortunately, knock on wood, never have had that happen, and I hope it doesn't. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But there's situations where you just have to put things in proper context. Is it really as big a deal as you're making it? Or is it just something that's how you've always done it? And I find with most of my clients, they just need a reality check. They just need a wake-up call because they've just got programmed that everything is an issue. Everything is you have no idea how bad it is, and every day is a bad day by default. And once in a while, if they're super generous and kind, maybe they'll sprinkle in a good day. A good day, but they won't do great. I don't know about you, my friends, but I want to love what I do. If I'm spending half my day doing it, which as a Chief Information Security Officer, you're probably spending at least a third, if not half of your day doing this thing. Shouldn't it bring you joy most of the time? Shouldn't it bring you excitement most of the time? Shouldn't it energize you most of the time? So I urge you to reset your expectations. And what if your expectation is that every day is a good day? You're going to do something that you can actually achieve as a good day. And then a great day, you hit about 75%. And then an amazing day is 2 to 3 times a year. Once again, these things might sound silly to some of you, but if you truly embrace it, these can actually be transformational. Now, this wasn't the topic. I always sort of just connect with the universe, connect with you before I do these podcasts, and I just sort of let it take me. Somebody out there needed to hear this. Somebody needed that message, so I hope it got to the right person. But the topic I planned on today is sort of a continuation of a theme I'm on, which is smart people know the right answer. Brilliant people ask the right questions. And last week we started an exercise of asking yourself questions. If you missed last week's episode, you definitely want to go back and watch it. I mean, I think all my episodes are good, right? And even great. But last week I think was just really, really resonated with a lot of people. I got a ton of feedback on it. So I'm sort of continuing the theme of asking questions. So you definitely want to go back and listen. If you didn't, quick summary. When was the last time you looked in a mirror, you looked yourself straight in the eyes, and you asked yourself a question? And you waited for an honest answer. And then you asked it again and again until you got to the truth. So the question that we want to cover today with world-class CISOs is, how are you showing up? This has sort of been an interesting area over the years of dress code. How are you actually showing up? And we'll talk about attitude and function, but what are the clothes that you're wearing? And I know today we've sort of been neutralized to this, but here's the reality. How you show up, the outfit you're wearing. Realize my collar's out there. The outfit you're wearing and how you look sends a message. And did you ever think that if you're in meetings or you're talking to people, how you dress shows how much you respect them? Because they have to look at you. Right? They have to look at you. If you're talking with somebody and they walk in with a t-shirt that looks like it's worn, it's a little old, it's stretched, it doesn't fit very well, maybe has a little tear in it, what message are you sending to that person of the importance of this conversation and the importance of your job? You're telling them it's very casual. I'm just, this job is just a job. It is what it is. Take it or leave it. And this conversation, when I knew I had a meeting or a presentation today, and it's not that important to me. I know some of this hits home. And remember, everything I do comes from a place of love. Everything I do comes from a place of caring. But the problem today is we have desensitized ourselves to the importance of detail. Details matter. How you show up matters. The clothes you wear matter. It sends a message. Just take me for right now. What message am I sending you? I hope the message I'm sending you is I care, you're important to me, and I care about how I look. I'm in a nice studio. I paid a lot for it with the lighting. I want to make sure the details are there. I adjust the lighting to make sure the shadows are right. I put on this uniform so you can recognize, you can feel comfortable. If you've watched my podcast, I wear the same uniform. That's by design because it makes you feel comfortable. If every day I showed up in a different wild shirt, which I used to do, what is that telling you? It's putting the attention on the shirt, not the outfit. I want my outfit to be bland. I want you to focus on me and my words, not what I'm wearing. But I also want you to know that I respect you and that you're important enough for me to actually get ready and get dressed and put on a shirt and put on a jacket. So we don't realize it, but everything is sending a message. And whether we realize it or not, we are constantly reading people and reading the environment. So how you show up as a CISO is critical. My recommendation in most environments is a nice shirt. Nowadays, they can have really nice fitted polos or tees, but you want it to actually fit correctly. And I usually wear a jacket. This is usually something similar, a solid color shirt and a contrast jacket. That's usually how I show up to my meetings, because it shows that I'm a professional. I respect them and I respect their time, but I'm also not trying to overdo it. You also, if you're in an environment where nobody's wearing suits, you don't want to wear suits. But once again, I love you and I care about you, and some of this hits home. But if nobody is wearing a suit and you're wearing a suit, the message you're really saying is, I want to stand out and be different than everyone else because of my outfit, not because of what I do. Oh, don't you love, and I hate when I get those little, those right hooks in there. It's the truth, my friends. I'm giving you truth here as a world-class CISO, so you want to make sure you're very careful of how you're showing up. Now, before I get into the other aspects of showing up, I want to hit another sore topic and get ready. And another side swing's coming, but you're not going to expect this one. We're talking about how you show up. So here's the better question. Are you even showing up? Are you even showing up to the office? I am just going to put it out there. People will debate with me because they enjoy the freedom, but work from home does not work. It does not work. You're not working. Be honest. Work from home means your job is now part-time and your main priority is taking care of yourself and your house. Because now, when you're home, if you're working from home, and I talk to a lot of people who work from home, I observe a lot of people who work from home, their priority is, how do I fit work into my lifestyle? Because they're going to get up and they're going to want to have their coffee and sit in the chair. So maybe they'll grab their computer and log in so it looks like they're logged in if they have tracking software like Slack or others. So it looks like they're there. And they'll set alerts and alarms. So if a message comes in, they can reply to it. But really, for the first hour or two of the day, the focus is not on work. It's secondary. The focus is on them and them getting ready, them getting settled, and them getting dressed. Then they might focus in on work for an hour or two, but then they'll go out to lunch or they'll work on things. Oh, I got to get the dishes cleaned. I got a food shop. Once again, the focus when you're working from home is on your life with work secondary. Now, people come back and say, but Eric, what's wrong with that? Nothing if that's the agreement. If you were hired to be part-time, if you were hired to be flexible work hours, and your salary is based on, listen, you need to put in 5 hours a day. I don't care when you put it in. You can put it in whenever you want. Those 5 hours don't have to be dedicated. It'll be 3 hours dedicated and 2 hours secondary where I'm monitoring, but I'm not really primary focused on it. And that's the agreement with your employer. And that's what your job requires. And that's what you're being paid to do. Then yes, work from home could work. But here's the reality. That's not how most people got hired. Most people got hired with the understanding that you were going to dedicate 8 hours. That's your commitment. You agreed that 8 hours of your day is to work, and the rest of the time is to you. That's the agreement you made for the salary. If you don't like that, that's fine. Strike up a different agreement. But you can't have an agreement with your employer where they're thinking they're getting 8 to 10 hours and you're giving them 2 to 3. It doesn't work. You're not going to be a world-class CISO if that's how you're operating and functioning. And unfortunately, that's the mindset that we've allowed and tolerated. That's why you're seeing these big companies requiring people to come back in the office. This is why you're requiring companies to actually reset the agreement and saying, if you want to work from home, we're going to honor it, but we're going to pay you for what you're working, which is half. And employees don't like it because they got used to it. But if you're actually open and honest with yourself, you will realize that work from home doesn't work. I love getting into these conversations where people are like, Eric, work from home actually works. There's proven studies. And I'm like, really? Do you realize there's proven studies of the craziest things on the planet? So just because there's a study doesn't mean it proves anything. The reality is, you know in your heart you're not working. And you know in your heart you're not delivering at the level that the company needs. And that, my friends, will always create angst and stress on you. Work from home hurts you as much as the employee, because it's basically creating a situation where you are saying it's okay to mislead. It's okay to lie. It's okay to not tell the truth. Because we all know that you're not really working 8 to 5 when you work from home. And you go, but Eric, how do you know this? I observe people, I talk to people, and I have employees. Here's the reality. If you live 5 minutes from the office and you won't come in the office, you will only work from home. There is one reason and one reason only. You do not plan on working 10-hour day or 8-hour day. You plan on doing other things, because the reality is, if you were really working 8 to 5, you would come in the office. Because the reality is, work from home has too many distractions. Work from home is not a work environment. Did you ever hear the phrase, you need to use the space for what it was created for? You know why most people have trouble sleeping? Is because they watch TV in their bed. If you're sitting there for 3 hours in your bed and you are watching TV, you are telling your body the bed is made for relaxing. It's not for sleeping. So when you try to sleep, the body's like, oh no, put on the TV. This is why people binge watch or stay up all night watching TV, because they've trained their body. The bed is for sleeping. That's the only thing you should do. I have a chair near my bed where I sit and I read. I read in the chair, I sleep in the bed. So it's the same thing. Your home is where you live your life. Your home is where you do personal. If you now try to work at home, your body is saying, oh, we need to do these things. I need to do the laundry. I need to clean the house. I need to go food shopping. You've basically trained it that work is not a priority. Now, I'm not going to force you to do anything. It's your decision. But what I'm telling you is, if you want to be a world-class CISO, you can't half-butt it. You can't. You're working from home, you're not going to be a world-class CISO. Now, maybe if you want to be vCISO and you have an agreement where you're going to work 2 to 3 hours a day, that's fine. But recognize you need to show up. If you are not showing up, your probability of being world-class goes down. Because here's the reality. Most business gets done at an executive level with informal conversations. Meetings are formalities for gathering data. If I need to gather data from a large number of people, I have a meeting. Meetings are not for decisions. Meetings are for gathering information and gathering data. How do you make decisions? I'm sitting there thinking about the meeting, after the meeting, as a chief officer, and I'm like, okay. And a question comes up. So I get up, I go right next door, if I'm the CEO, to my COO, and I say, hey, what do you think of this? We were both in that meeting, and we have to make a decision by tomorrow, and I'm sort of thinking this. What do you think? Oh, I'm thinking that, yeah, this and that. Let's get the CFO involved. So we pull them in. And it's these informal meetings. Some of the biggest deals and decisions I've made were running into somebody in an elevator, running to somebody in the hallway, or somebody saying, hey, Eric, can you stop by my office for a second? I have a question to ask you. None of that can happen if you're working from home. I love Zoom. I love video. I love all. It cannot replace that. Face-to-face interaction, casual conversations is how businesses are run at an executive level. You could argue it's run at other levels, but I'm talking about chief officer. Companies are run based on locale. Why do you think all the execs are in the same building? Why do you think all the execs are in the same wing of the same building? Why do you think all their offices are on the same floor? Because locale is important. If physical location was not important, we would have been doing work from home long before COVID. Work from home didn't come about for productivity reasons. It didn't come about because it was better. It came about because people thought that was the only option. They thought from COVID, quarantine was the only option, and therefore they thought it was the only option. It was a suboptimal option that was meant to be temporary, that was never meant to solve the productivity problem. Productivity, optimization, the efficiency of companies have gone down because of it. And now, if you want to be a world-class CISO, you need locale. That's why we talked about your office is so important. And now we're talking about showing up. You have to be physically present. I'll tell you one of my tricks. People always ask, going, Eric, I'm trying to do vCISO work and I'm struggling. Like I can't get a lot of feedback. I can't get a lot of information. And usually after a couple of months, they lose interest and they don't always renew the contracts. And you seem to, once you have a client, you keep them for life. I said, yeah. I asked a simple question. How many times do you go in the office? And they're like, Eric, didn't you hear me? It's a vCISO. Yeah. That doesn't mean virtual CISO means you're not an actual CISO on the org chart. You're a virtual one filling in on the org chart. Virtual doesn't mean you don't come in the office. And everybody I know that's struggling as a CISO or a vCISO, when I always ask the question, how often are you in the office within 50 feet of the executives? And in every case, I can guarantee you the answer is they don't. If you ask me that, depending on the level of vCISO services, I am in the office in one of the conference rooms of one of the executives at least once a month, sometimes once a week. That's why I'm always careful on vCISO services of locale and location and where it is. But I will go in and I will contact the executive assistants for the 4 or 5 executives, CEO, COO, CFO, Chief Legal Counsel, all those, and I'll be like, listen, I would like to come in the office for 4 hours someday this week. I just want to be available to the execs. I don't need to set up any meetings, but I like to be available. And I was wondering is there a conference room it has to be on the floor, on the executive floor that I could use? And you can switch it up. So like, for example, once you build rapport with the EAs and with the execs, I might with one of our clients, each exec has their own conference room typically. So the CEO's conference room might be, he doesn't have any meetings from 9 to 10. Great. Can I sit in from an hour? Oh, the COO is free from 10 to 11:30. Great, I'll take it. The CFO's conference room is free from 12:30 to 1. I'll take it. And I just float around and I'm present. And what happens initially is they'll sort of pop in and be like, hey, Eric, glad you're here. And then usually within 1 or 2 visits, hey, Eric, I have a question for you. Hey, Eric, I want to run this by you. And after I'm in the office a few times, for the 4 hours I'm there, I am talking with execs the entire time. They're popping in, they're grabbing other execs, we're bouncing ideas, and that's when the work gets done. That's when decisions get made and the work gets done. If I didn't do that, none of that would have happened. And they would have been upset and frustrated. But because I've made myself available, that's important. So showing up, how you show up, and then the final piece as we wrap up this episode is, how are you showing up from an attitude and a personality? Are you showing up each morning like, damn, these people piss me off. Another day, Eric, just get through it, another day, right? How warm and effective are you going to be? How much are people going to want to listen to you and talk to you and interact with you and do what you say if you have? They're not. you're not showing up with a winning attitude. But if you're showing up going, I can't ask for a better job. I mean, I am blessed. I mean, this job is amazing and it is great. And I can't wait to talk to people today. I can't wait to help change people's lives and show them why cyber is so critical to their lives, their business, and this country. And once again, I know in some people here, they're like, Eric, it's not roses and butterflies all day long. It's not, but once again, you get to pick what the roses and butterflies are. You don't have to go in and set a standard and I'll end where I started. You don't have to set such a standard that's impossible to be happy. It's impossible to have a good day. It's impossible to have fun. So I urge you, if you want to be a world-class CISO, just start asking your question, how are you showing up? How can you more effectively show up? And what can you do to reset the rules of the game so you can have good days all the time, great days most of the time, and awesome days periodically? And that, my friend, is how you go down the road of becoming a world-class CISO.